happening, dude? That was fucking weird. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to 4-Star Chicago Sports. This is the Northside Nine, and we are going to be live watching this game with you today. We're going to break down what happened yesterday and what was a playoff-esque atmosphere in Motown as the Cubs and the Tigers continue the baseball universe. All eyes are on this matchup. Ours are too, right after this. Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome to 4-Star Chicago Sports. Back with us on the Northside Nine. We got Cubs baseball. First pitch is about 8 minutes away. Kyle's in the house. We got no time to mess around today. We're going to get right into this, Kyle. I know you watched that baseball game yesterday. It was a fantastic, fantastic baseball game between two stud pitchers last night. And guys, if you're out there and you're watching us, if something big happens, we're going to cut it in right here. If they hit us with a fine on YouTube, we're going to deal with it. We're here for you. We're going to watch it together. So stick with us, man. Bizzo Joe, thanks for checking this out with us. Like I said, the bases loaded and PCA's up. We're throwing it on the screen. No problem. We'll deal with the FCC a little bit later on down the road. But nonetheless, last night we had a duel in Motown. A lot of people didn't think Ben Brown could go pitch for pitch with Tarek Skubal, but he absolutely did. It was a fantastic, fantastic matchup, and holy crap, the evolution of Ben Brown just continues to impress us. Kyle, we're going to take a look at this really quick because this is him. These are his pitches last night, and what this shows is just some stellar improvement for what he did. I know you wanted to point out a pitch on here, but you know, if you check out the dense cluster of red fastballs up and into the righties, the purple curveballs low and in the zone at the black, he was throwing nearly 1.5 mile per hour faster last night. He was locked in. He executed well. Thank you, Brendan Miller, for giving us this. I wanted to put this diagram up because it just kind of shows, man. And Kyle, I know you wanted to talk about that ball he left to Torkelson, middle. But what are your thoughts on Ben Brown last night, my friend?
Yeah, Sean, he was awesome. He was awesome the game before that as well. I mean, Ben Brown, and he does this. This is what he does. He has 2 or 3 really, really good starts, and then he has 2 or 3 starts where you're kind of like, like there's a lot left to be desired. But, I mean, if he can continue to improve on that changeup, I think that Ben Brown could be a very good pitcher in baseball, man. I mean, he's definitely got the velocity. You know, he's a young pitcher. He's still learning. He's got a lot to learn. He's learning the strike zone the longer he plays in the majors. But if he can start to use that changeup more and more as the season goes on, he's going to be a really, really good pitcher and probably even get playoff consideration. Problem with Ben Brown is the same thing we've been talking about for 3 weeks. He's just 2-pitch pitcher. He's got the curve and he's got the fastball. If he can continue to add that changeup, he becomes a 3-pitch pitcher. It's a much different situation, Sean, because that keeps the batter guessing. They don't have to. It's not a 50-50 shot. But yeah, even that pitch, I'm not picking on him. Everybody has bad pitches. Every pitcher in Major League Baseball has bad pitches. It just stinks that he decided to keep one middle against Spencer Torkelson. That's the only guy in the lineup you really can't do that to. Him and Javier Baez are the only two you can't leave that ball in the middle of the plate. And unfortunately, he did. And Sean, you could tell the second that he threw that pitch, he was not happy with it.
He said, yeah.
The second he threw it, he wasn't happy with it.
And really quick, I forgot to start the show off with this. Of course, we got J-Mo on the hill. Game 2, the showdown in Motown. We got Happ, Tucker, Suzuki, Swanson, PCA, Horner, Bush, Shaw, and then Reese McGuire rounding out the Northside Nine in Motown today. The one thing I'm happy about, and I don't want to bag on this guy, but Kyle, you and I have talked about this, but since May 9th, Carson Kelly is hitting 167, on base of 231, slugging 233, a 41 WRC plus. I love you, Craig Counsell, but for the love of Christ, can you not put this guy in the gosh darn cleanup spot anymore? The experiment is over. April was great. but he has not been Carson Kelly of April since April.
He's Carson Kelly. That's who he is. This is the guy you've seen since May 13th. Or he said, this is the guy I expected when the Cubs signed Carson Kelly. No disrespect, and it was awesome to get what we did out of him, man. But like I said, baseball's a game of averages, and sooner or later you're going to become who you are. And Carson Kelly is not one of the best hitters in baseball. He's not the guy he was in April. That was just a conundrum. It's the Cubs have had really good luck with backup catchers. David Ross was much better offensively than he should have been here. Yan Gomes was much better offensively here than he was for the rest of his career. And then Carson Kelly had that start to the season where he was just absolutely on fire. But ultimately, all three of those guys are who they are. If you look at their careers, they're not amazing hitters. And Carson Kelly is no exception. I mean, he's a pretty average player at the plate. Yeah. And the Cubs are starting to see who he is. The Cubs need Miguel Amaya. They need him back. And when he comes back, he better be like an everyday player.
Though, my takeaway from yesterday, we went into this game thinking it was going to be really tough against Skubal, and it was a tight game. There was intensity on every pitch. If you were watching and you had the sound on, the crowd was absolutely electric in Detroit. The Cubs showed a lot of fight at the plate. They put a lot of balls in play. I mean, I think 7 hits off of Skubal yesterday. They put some pressure on him. I have to give a 5-star review to the Tigers. They robbed the Cubs repeatedly. They robbed PCA in that 8th inning. They robbed Suzuki, which looked like that ball was not headed quite out, but looked like it would have hit off the top of the wall, which would have drove in 2 runs and tied that ball game up. Yesterday, the base path miscue or indecision, whatever you want to call it, by Quentin Berry, I was screaming at the television. Why the hell would you stop PCA? He was a quarter of the way past the bag already. The ball was in short left field. Let him go. He listened to his coach. I'm not putting that on PCA. He was spinning him around. Go, go, go. And then all of a sudden he puts the top. That was a bad decision by Quentin Berry. There hasn't been many by these the base coaches for the Cubs this year. But when you're facing a guy like Skubal, you got to put some pressure on the defense. See if they can make that throw. I think that was a critical mistake that I won't say cost the Cubs, but it could have been a 3-2 ball game or a base hit or a sac fly late in that game could have got this game tie. So, yeah, I think it was a critical mistake by Quentin Berry. What did you think of that running play yesterday, Kyle?
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, just the fact that PCA is so fast, he tends to get people to try to hurry up a little bit, and that's when they make mistakes. I mean, just let him go, and every time PCA is on the base paths, the opposing team knows they need a perfect throw, man. That's not easy to do, and that puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And that generally they will make mistakes with a guy like PCA. That's why these pitchers don't want him on base, because he steals bases and he makes everybody anxious. But yeah, I mean, it's a mistake. It happens. Like it still would have been 2 to 3 then at the end of the game. So it doesn't really matter either way. Although they probably would have put Palencia in the 9th instead of Cabrera. But yeah, it was a really, really well fought game for the Cubs, man. That's exactly what I expected from the 2 best teams in baseball. That's exactly what I expected. I think it was kind of one of those games where, especially if you like pitching, you're kind of on the edge of your seat the entire game. Yeah. The Detroit Tigers are a very good game, man. A very good team, man. I haven't looked at their defensive metrics much this season, Sean, but watching them last night, they looked like they're very good. Pretty much everywhere on the field. They actually kind of remind me of the Cubs with a little bit less power. But
yeah,
they're a very good team.
I'll tell you right now, first pitch is about to happen. The Cubs have a bounce back opportunity. Just keep stacking these good games, man. And I got to say this. If the Cubs can make the right couple of moves, even if they lose 2 out of 3 to Detroit, which has lost 8 games at home, and they're a very good baseball team at home, I'm not going to really hold it against them, but they do have to win 1 game coming out of this series. They make the right moves, excuse my language, but, man, they could fuck around and win the goddamn World Series this year. I'm sorry. The bullpen has turned around. We're going to get into this in just a couple of minutes. Some added rotation pieces that the Cubs could possibly add to help get that. Obviously, Shota returning. But, man, that game yesterday was amazing, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of the same here today. So,
yeah, real quick, what's up to John, Vizzo, Joe, Breaking News, Bruce, everybody joining us. We appreciate you guys. Anybody watching on Twitter, please go over our YouTube page and hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, Sean, there's a reason these 2 teams are the 2 best teams in baseball. And you saw it last night. I mean, they're really, really good at defense. They have, when their starting pitching is on, it's on. I mean, like you said, Brown went pitch for pitch with Skubal. There was a really good matchup, and if I was Detroit, I'd be a little worried because that was their 1 versus our 5, and
Yeah,
that was
right.
that was a close game, a really close game. But yeah, and something I want to talk about, we'll probably get into later, Sean. I'm sure you've got it on the docket here, but Vizzo Joe says really impressed with Shaw. Yeah, Shaw looks like he could be a star. He really does. I mean, every time the Cubs are struggling to find hits, Shaw comes up big in big moments, and he hit another double last night, right?
Yeah, Tucker, PCA, and Shaw all had 2 hits. PCA should have had 3, but the left fielder, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, robbed him.
I thought that one I saw.
I thought that was a home run off the bat, dude. Like, I got out of my seat like, yeah, and I was like, oh, dude. But again, when you have the best record in baseball as Detroit does, you have to tip your cap because McKinstry at third robbed the Cubs a couple of shots down the line, made a couple of great plays. I mean, the defense. I didn't expect that out of the Tigers' defense yesterday. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, man. I did not. But again, tip your cap. Let's get out there. Let's bounce back today and kick some Detroit Tigers booty. So yeah, I wanted to talk about it because we're in it now. I mean, the Cubs are going to travel to Philadelphia next week, and the Cubs are 23-18 before this 21 game stretch. They've now won a series against the Dodgers, Diamondbacks, split the season series with the Padres, earned series wins over the Brewers, Rangers, and Pirates. They also swept the A's. They did lose 3 series to the Phillies, Giants, and Mets along the way. So in total, the Cubs have lost 3 series. I guess if you want to consider the 2-game series in Japan a loss, that's fine. You can, whatever, that would make 4. We'll see what happens today. But we have 31 out of our next 35 against teams over 500. This is a tremendous stretch for the Chicago Cubs. And when we talk about this pitching, we just keep talking, can these frontline starters hold the line? Colin Ray has shown some big regression, and I want to get into Colin Ray really quick because I think he might be the biggest question mark and one of the number one reasons why we need to make a move in this pitching rotation. And I know a lot of people are looking at him yesterday saying, not yesterday, the day before against Washington, he looked really, really good. But I hate to tell you, they were squaring him up, man. 5.1 innings, limited runs, but the quality of contact against him tells more of the troubling story for me. When hitters consistently are squaring him up like they have in his last 3 starts, that shows the sign of his stuff isn't fooling anybody. Kyle, I kind of talked to you about this a little bit. The evolution of Cade Horton. I mean, for me and you, what is your easiest transition for the Cubs over these next 35 days? Because the only team with a losing record the Cubs are going to play is the Pirates coming up from Thursday to Sunday at the end of this week after we get back from Philadelphia. Then we got the Seattles, we got the Milwaukees, we got St. Louis, we have Cleveland. We got some really good baseball teams that we're going to play. What are your keys to success? I know the bullpen's been hot, but do you think this rotation without a trade can hold up? That's the big question.
No, Sean, that's the key to success. Can the rotation hold up? That's the key to success. I mean, if the Cubs, Colin Ray continues to become Colin Ray and finishes the season with an ERA over 4, if Ben Brown continues to be inconsistent, I mean, if Shota Imanaga's health concerns continue, then yeah, this is probably not going to be a very fun stretch for the Chicago Cubs. All they can hope on is to lean on their offense that these guys continue to hit. But you even look at the offense, Suzuki slowed down a little bit. Obviously, we talked about Carson Kelly has just become Carson Kelly. This is who he is. This team needs, at some point, this team's probably going to need a spark from somewhere. Sean, I know that's crazy to say considering the Cubs are in first place in the NL, but this pitching is starting to look like the pitching rotation we were concerned about to start the season, where after Justin Steele got hurt, especially after Shota Imanaga got hurt, they need another arm. They could probably use a couple arms, Sean, to be honest with you. What they really need is to make a trade for a starting pitcher for Javier Assad to come back healthy and look like the Javier Assad we've seen in the past. He doesn't have to be perfect. He's just got to be your number 5. He's got to replace Colin Ray. Sean, Colin Ray had 2 bad games against the Reds back-to-back. I think he allowed 6 runs in each of those games. Like you said, he was getting hit hard against the Nationals. I mean, I think that's kind of what Colin Ray is, right? If he's pitching against the Nationals, he's okay. If he's pitching against a good lineup, not so okay. He does not look. If you put Colin Ray in the playoffs against the Dodgers, against the Phillies, against the Mets, it's not going to be a good result for you. So at some point, whether the Cubs like it or not, I know they don't like spending money. They don't like to part with their farm system, but at some point they need to add an arm here. I mean, it's getting to the point where they don't have an option, right? I mean, say Colin Ray gets hurt, say James Italian gets hurt, say one of these guys gets hurt. Where are you going then? Then where are you going to say Kate Horton gets hurt? Then where are the Cubs going?
And one of the key for the Cubs so far this year is, their defense, the defensive run saved. Nico Herner right now has 10. That's tied for third in MLB and first for second baseman. Pete Crow Armstrong has 9. Matthew Shaw has 4. Ian Happ has 3. Dansby Swanson has 4. So this defense is going to be the key. And you saw that against Colin Ray, because if it wasn't for that defense, Colin Ray probably gives up 5 runs against the Washington Nationals the other day. So this defense, man, is huge. And yes, we do have a 1-0 ball game. Seiya Suzuki just put it on the board. All right.
Yeah. Maybe he's back.
Upper Holton. I'm digging it. All right. Well, hopefully, because I'll tell you, he hit that ball last night. I honestly, that was the second ball I thought was gone last night. I really did. And I mean, that ball just kept going and going and going. That was a sensational catch by Carpenter, I think it is, in right field for the Tigers. That was amazing. Well, that was a line drive shot. So,
and the ball's going to fly a little bit better in this sunny daytime than it is the cold, frigid nights. So, yeah. If they hit those same balls they were today, they were yesterday, then they're going to hit home runs today for sure. Sean, listen, the Cubs ran into a juggernaut. Skubal, I know if you look at his ERA, you're like, oh yeah, I mean, he's top 10 in baseball. Go look at his past 2 months. He's been pretty remarkable. And Sean, last night was a good example of what the playoffs are going to look like. Like the Cubs have to have a Skubal. They have to have one, because you're going to have to go up against those guys in the playoffs at least 3 or 4 times. Every team that's going to make the playoffs has one. So if either Shota Imanaga has to be that guy and has to be absolutely amazing when they make it to the playoffs, or they got to go get that Skubal type pitcher. This is the problem, Sean. I just don't think the Cubs. I don't think that type of pitcher is on their radar. I think the Cubs are going to do some bargain shopping and hope they could take a guy who's been pitching so this year, not good at all, and kind of turn his season around a little bit. I mean, how much time do you have to turn his season around if you go acquire, like, say, a Sandy Alcantara at the deadline? Right. How much time do you got to turn him around? You better do it damn quick.
Better do it fast.
I mean, I've already heard reports that the Cubs are seriously considering and interested in Alcantara, and that's scary, Sean. I mean, you want me to go over these numbers with you real quick?
Yeah, I was going to go over Skubal's numbers too. So go ahead.
This guy has been. I mean, so you guys, a report came out yesterday that the Cubs are not only interested in Sandy Alcantara, but they will eat his entire contract. They have no problem picking up his entire contract. I mean, these are his past few starts, guys. I'm just going to go over earned runs because I don't want to spend too much time on this. But against Colorado, 2 earned runs, good game, but it's against Colorado, right? And by the way, they lost. Against San Diego, 6 earned runs. Los Angeles Angels, 5 earned runs. Tampa Bay Rays, 4 earned runs. White Sox, 4 earned runs. Dodgers, 5 earned runs. Dodgers, 7 earned runs. Cincinnati, 3. Philadelphia, 6 earned runs. Washington, 4 earned runs. New Mets, 2 earned runs. I mean, this guy in his 15 starts has really only had 2 good starts all season.
Yeah, and you're talking about picking up a 5-year, $56 million contract.
Yeah, which is really cheap in baseball if he was a good pitcher. 5-year, $56 million is nothing in the game of Major League Baseball if he's a good pitcher.
The thing that sucks about that contract, though, Kyle, is when he's 29 and 30, he's going to make $34 million of it. It's all backloaded and deferred. So,
which, if he was the Cy Young candidate pitcher that he used to be, I'd be like, okay, big deal. Who cares? Every good pitchers get paid $34 million a year, but he just doesn't seem to be that guy, Sean. So what it seems to me like is Sandy Alcantara just never recovered from that injury, right? I mean, that injury just changed his career, changed the trajectory of his career. And sometimes you can get these guys back into true form. We've seen it before. Guys like Drew Pomeranz, who didn't pitch for 2 years, and now he looks like a stud. But sometimes you can't, Sean. And this is just who they are. Right. What's going on, T? Thanks for joining the show, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah, he's here to talk about his Tigers. Well, he's just in time. because we're
Hey,
talking
Sean,
about.
let him talk about his Tigers and Lions. He's been, I don't know how old he is, but he hasn't had a chance to talk about these teams for the last 30 years. So give
Hey,
him one, man.
he missed the beginning of the show. I gave the Tigers all the props in the world, man. I was very impressed with their defense yesterday, and I will continue to be impressed with this team. I'll be honest, if there's a team outside of the Cleveland Indians in the American League that I like, it would be the Detroit Tigers. I have a lot of respect for that ball club. But when we talk about Skubal and how tough he is, he's ninth in earned run average. He's first and fifth, and that's fielding independent pitching. He is first in WAR. For pitchers, he's second in K rate behind only Mackenzie Gore. He's number one in walk percentage at 2.5. He's number one in K to walk percentage at 32.3%. The next best is Mackenzie Gore at 28, followed by 25 and 23. So Skubal is having one hell of a season. And I'll be honest, I'm watching that game yesterday. There was nothing that I took away from that game yesterday where I was not impressed. The Cubs battled. They put pressure on Skubal. If it wasn't for the defense, he probably gives up 2 or 3 runs to the Cubs yesterday. When Vest came in, Vest got lucky. I shouldn't say lucky. It was a great play by the right fielder. So there was a lot of good things to take away, even though the Cubs lost yesterday 3-1. I was very impressed. They beat Paul Skeens. I went into that game thinking that they could beat Skubal too. And like I said, they put a lot of pressure on him. So I don't think there's any team in baseball the Cubs cannot go head-to-head with in a 3-game series.
Well, yeah, and Sean, and Detroit's the best team in the AL, and they have the best record in baseball. But I mean, it's not like Detroit's been through a ton of adversity. And this is not to take anything away from Detroit, because they put a good team together and they put a good team on the field every day. But the Cubs have lost their 2 top pitchers. I mean, our number 5 went up against their number 1 last year, and that game was close. It was enjoyable. It was tense. It was exactly what you expected from the 2 first-place teams in baseball. But if the Cubs didn't lose their top 2 pitcher, I mean, the Cubs are a much better team than I thought they were going to be going into the season. I mean, I knew they were going to be good, but not this good. This lineup is absolutely amazing. If that rotation had Justin Steele and Shota Imanaga, you're talking about a completely different team. I mean, that changes the dynamic of the Cubs completely. They're missing their 2 best pitchers. Sean, if I were going to the season, if I said to you, Sean, give me 3 names on the Chicago Cubs that we cannot lose for the season, cannot have season-ending surgery. Give me those 3 names.
Coming into the season. Oh, come on, Tyon. It would have been Shota, or no, it would have been Steele, Tucker, and Shota for me.
Yeah. 2 of those 3 guys have missed. Steele's out for the year. Shota Imanaga's now missed what, a month and a half? I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And on that front, that's a perfect segue to this. Shota, this just was, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. Through 39 pitches and 2 innings in a live BP. I think this was the Wednesday. And Porter Hodge also threw a bullpen session in the same day. So that was really awesome. So we're going to get some relief. They said for Shota Imanaga, his next step is to head to Arizona. He's going to head to Arizona. He's going to do a simulated live game, put him in some pressure situations. So we're looking to hopefully get him back during this stretch run where we're playing all these teams over 500. That's going to be a huge lift for the Cubs every 5th day. And for me, as we just talked about, I think the guy that you remove from this rotation is Colin Ray, and get him in a situation where Tyon has a bad start, you bring him in the 3rd inning, or Brown has a bad start, you bring him in the 3rd, 4th inning. Where are you with that, Kyle? Would you agree, disagree on that situation?
Yeah, I mean, maybe for the remainder of the regular season, you get the playoffs. That should be Drew Pomeranz. Sean, honestly, I no disrespect to Colin Ray, he's been a lot of help for the Cubs this season. I don't think they expected him to start at any point this season, but obviously they were running out of options. Colin Ray's been better than he usually has been. I mean, now his 3.97 ERA is still the lowest he's ever had in his entire career to finish the season. So if the season ended today, this would be the best season of Colin Ray's career. But eventually that ERA is going to bump over 4. And if I'm in the playoffs, he's not touching the mound if I'm the Chicago Cubs. That's just me personally, Sean. Nothing against Colin Ray. Like I said, I like the guy. He seems like, by all accounts, he's a pretty good dude. But, yeah, he wouldn't be touching my playoff roster. I can tell you
No,
that.
Colin Ray's kind of in that situation for me too, where I just don't want to see him
What's up, Foster?
on this roster at this moment coming into the playoffs. And you know what? Maybe he's just going through something and he'll get back, but his ball has looked flat in 3 straight starts. And again, that defense, like they bailed out Scooble yesterday, bailed him out against Washington. We're going into the top of the second, folks. Cubs, Tyon got out of it. It is 1-0 Chicago. So hopefully that stays on. I want to throw some names out there for you, Kyle. And I'm going to start with the most far-fetched one, because this is a guy I'm just not sure, and the Cubs would have to give up maybe a Jackson Wiggins, maybe a Alcantara, and throw in a Triantos or a couple of other big names. But it's Mackenzie Gore. You know, he's got a 287 earned run average. He leads baseball in strikeouts. We just saw how dominant he was against the Chicago Cubs. He's second in average, runs, walks, third in OBP, fourth in OPS. I mean, his last 3 starts, 19 innings pitched, 9 hits, 1 run, 24 strikeouts, 4 walks. I mean, this guy from 2022, 4.5 earned run average, 2023, 4.42, 2024, 3.90, and 2025 as he sits right now at 287 with that 35% strikeout rate on the season. You want to find a guy that solidifies your rotation, and we're all of a sudden sitting here saying Cubs are legitimate World Series contenders. This is your guy. He's one of 7 qualified pitchers to have an earned run average under 3 and a 30-plus K rate. Some of these names are going to piss you off, because they pissed me off when I was doing this research, because 2 of them could have been Cubs. You have Scooble, Wheeler, Crochet, Sale, Hunter Brown, and Carlos Rodon. And Rodon and Crochet could have very easily been Chicago Cubs. Kyle, where are you at with Mackenzie Gore?
You saw I like Mackenzie Gore a lot when we were looking at that. We were looking or previewing ahead to the Cubs next week when we were predicting their record. I said they're going to take 2 out of 3 from Washington. And the game that scares me is Gore. Gore's been absolutely amazing this season. Like you said, he continues to get better every single year of his career. He's doing exactly what major leaguers should do. They should get better every year. I think he would look really, really nice in this rotation. Well, there's some of those names on that list, Sean, like Carlos Rodon. He is a really good pitcher, but he has a lot of injury issues. I'm not surprised that the Cubs try to stay away from guys like that, considering that Justin Steele is already coming into the season with the same injury he's been dealing with for the last 3 years. You just don't want too many guys who are injury prone in your rotation. And Carlos Rodon, from the last 3 seasons, has only played like 50% of his potential starts. So I get it, but yeah. I mean, Sean, this is what we're talking about, bargain shopping in the offseason. This is how we get in the situation we're in right now. I mean, now the Cubs are fighting to find another pitcher to put in this rotation. If they just would have spent more money in the offseason, they wouldn't be dealing with this right now. We would be talking about a Gore in this lineup. We'd be talking about a guy, maybe a Tyler Mahle, a Carlos Rodon. One of these guys would be in the lineup right now. We wouldn't have to worry about it. And Sean, I know you're going to get a little bit later, you're getting some of the pitchers that have been injured this season, but you can't predict injuries. I mean,
yeah,
the Cubs can't be like, well, that's why we didn't sign all these guys over here. Yeah, that's why we didn't sign these guys, because we knew they were going to be injured. Like, no, you didn't sign these guys because you're cheap. That's why you didn't sign these guys. Like, we knew Corbin Burns was going to be out for the season. We knew Pablo Lopez would be out for a while. We knew, like, no, you didn't. You just are cheap. Now, yeah, obviously for the teams that did sign the Corbin Burns of the world, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that they have a stud pitcher who is now out for the season, just like Justin Steele. But yeah, I mean, the Cubs at some point are going to have to start acting like the Chicago Cubs and start spending money, the money that we all know that they have, and they won't be in these situations. This team is so close to a World Series, you can almost reach out and touch it. And here we are talking about who are they going to pick up at the trade deadline, and names like Sandy Alcantara are coming up. Like, you guys, you have a chance to win a World Series, and that's the effort you're going to give your fan base. That's what you're going to give us, Sandy Alcantara, a guy who has a ERA over 7 and has been absolutely awful all season. I mean, and then the Cubs come out, Sean, they're like, oh, and we'll even eat his so you'll eat his contract, but you won't pay anybody else on this team? Like, that's insulting.
Yeah, now I'll tell you this, man. the guy on that list that just broke my heart, because I've been all over this and hoping the Twins would fall on their face so the Cubs could trade for Pablo Lopez. But Pablo Lopez, unfortunately, in his last start, it's called a teres major strain in his pitching shoulder. It says, I did some research into it. It says this strain often occurs when proper warm-up is not done before workouts. He carried a 282 earned run average, a 298 FIP, and a 1.07 whip across 60 and 2/3 innings of work. He was near the top of the league in limiting hard hit balls and inducing chasing from opposing hitters. He is now out 8 to 12 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. That is pretty much the rest of the baseball season.
Sean, a guy I think could be a really, really, really realistic option for the Cubs is I never forget his name. It drives me insane. But the number 2 for the Pirates right now, since Jones is out, he has not pitched this season. But the number 2 for the Pirates,
Falter?
Yeah, Bailey Falter. I mean, Sean, let's face it. Teams like the Nationals, teams like the Pirates, those are the teams you want to keep your eye on because they don't like paying people. I mean, the Nationals could have Juan Soto and Bryce Harper on their team, but they don't like paying people. And ultimately, the Nationals are going to try to win a World Series the cheap way and do it through their farm system. Right now, they're not that close, nor are the Pirates. Obviously, the Pirates are one of the worst teams in baseball. So these are two teams who I would realistically consider at least giving a phone call to and being like, hey, you guys are obviously years away from a World Series or championship. Would you consider partying with some of these guys? And those are two teams. I mean, the Pirates are always trading people away, right? I feel like every trade deadline, the Pirates are dumping people off of their team.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'd keep a close eye on that team for sure, man. They're sellers. They're not buyers. They're sellers.
I will tell you this. There's a couple other names that have been popped up on the list. And the guy we're going to talk about here in just a minute, Michael Busch, is at the plate. The umpire seems to be getting into it with – it looked like Craig Counsell. He was just turned away from Craig Counsell. PCA was not happy with the pitch that struck him out. It did look like it did clip the zone. I don't know if PCA on that particular pitch had that much of an argument, to be honest. It did.
Yeah, but
clip the bottom of the zone. So
baseball, Sean. He may have screwed him over in a game previously this season, and he's just getting back at him. This stuff. These guys remember. They remember.
I'll throw you a couple other names out there. These two guys dueled this past June 4th, which I believe was this past Wednesday. They had a combined, where was this? 18 strikeouts. They allowed 3 hits, over 14 innings pitched, and 1 earned run. That is Chris Sale. Chris Sale, since April 19th, has had 9 straight starts of 2 earned runs or less. He currently sits at a 3-4 record, 293 earned run average, 96 strikeouts behind. I forgot to put his walks down. Damn it. A 124 whip. And then when you look at his counterpart in that game, Merrill Kelly, a little bit older, 36 years old, having a pretty damn good season, 6-2 record, 343 earned run average, 72 strikeouts behind 19 walks, a .99 whip. And as I just said, his last outing, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 hit, 0 earned over 7. 36 years old, and you got a team. You got Chris Sale on the Braves. The Braves just can't seem to get out of their way. They seem to get hot. Now they're 8 games under 500. They're 14 games out of first. Are these two names that intrigue you when Shota comes back, that you say, hey, these are guys that can help us win a couple playoff series here?
Well, Sean, anybody who's not a rental intrigues me because I don't think the Cubs are going to spend a ton of money in the offseason. I don't think they're going to get the biggest free agent acquisition of the offseason in terms of pitching. I think they have to go get somebody who they have control over for the next few years because that's going to be the guy who's in this lineup going forward. And I think the Cubs have a pretty big window for a championship here if they can somehow keep Kyle Tucker. So I want somebody who's going to be here for a long time, at least 2 or 3 years. But yeah, when you talk about somebody who's 36 years old, man, the Kelly, this is probably it for him. I mean, this is probably going to be his last really good season in baseball. And even if he finishes the season well, he might fall off at some point. We've seen that with older pitchers. I would stay away from Kelly. But yeah, Chris Sale's somebody I would consider. Another problem with Chris Sale is he's also he's injured a lot, man. He's a guy who has dealt with a lot of injuries. Just I don't know if it's the throwing motion, just how fast he throws, the velocity, the torque. I don't know what it is, but that's another guy who's just can't seem to stay healthy. And it would be devastating for Cubs fans if they go and trade for one of these pieces with part ways with a big chunk of their farm system, and then he's out for the season. That would absolutely devastate you. If I'm the Cubs, I'm looking for somebody who's youth and somebody who's got a couple of years of control. And a guy like Sandy Alcantara, Sean, but not Sandy Alcantara.
my guy, and I hate to say it, but my guy was Pablo Lopez, and it doesn't look like. I mean,
Sean, another guy. I don't know if the Rangers have not lived up to expectations this season. The Rangers, I think, are 4 or 5 games under 500. Keep an eye on Tyler Mahle too, man. That's the guy. I mean, he's not going to be super expensive. He's not going to cost you half your farm system, and that's a guy who's having a career year right now. I mean, he's been really, really good this season. I know Mahle's had some inconsistencies in the past, especially when he was on the Reds. But Sean, this year he's I don't know. He seems like he's found something. Maybe he just needed a different pitching coach because he's been really good this season.
He's 5-3 with a 202 earned run average, 53 strikeouts. 53 strikeouts behind 26 walks, and he's sitting at a where was that whip? I just had it and I lost it. A 1.07 whip. That's the guy. I was looking at the Rangers and I overlooked Tyler Mahle because I was seeing if there was any way that they could round up a Nathan Eovaldi, but he has a full trade clause, and that is a big contract that I don't think the Cubs would take on.
Sean, Tyler Mahle is realistic because I don't think the Cubs are going to go after Eovaldi. I don't think they're going to go after like an ace where they have to pay him hundreds of millions of dollars. Tyler Mahle's not that expensive, and he's been very good this season, and he would be good in the playoffs for the Chicago Cubs. Like you said, with this rotation or with this lineup, you don't have to be the best pitcher in baseball every day when you're pitching for the Cubs because they're going to score runs. Generally, the Cubs are going to score runs. So I think a Tyler Mahle is a guy that's exactly what the Cubs need. A guy just like Tyler Mahle. I mean, he's not going to cost you your top 5 prospects because let's face it, Sean, this team's never going to spend a ton of money. In my lifetime, they never have. I don't expect them to do so in the future. So they got to hold on to as much of this farm system as they possibly can, right? I mean, you don't have 38 players on a baseball field, so you can't hold on to everybody. But they should try to be hanging on to the Kevin Alcantaras of the world and the Jefferson Rojas of the world. So go get a guy like Tyler Mahle. Maybe all you got to give him is an Owen Casey. Maybe that's it. Maybe there could be a player-for-player trade because Tyler Mahle is not one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Did you just see this? They have it up on the screen. The 2010 MLB draft. The first 5 picks in 2010: Bryce Harper 1, 2 Jamison Taillon, 3 Manny Machado, 4 Christian Colon, 5 Drew Pomeranz. Oh, that's gonna drop. No, it's not. Good.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Sean, the guys you just named, Jamison Taillon, he might be at the bottom there, but yeah. But I'm not. Jamison Taillon's been awesome for the Cubs this year. He really has stepped up his game since they lost their 2 studs. He's definitely carried the load here, but I do expect Jamison Taillon to struggle at points this season, like he has his entire career, like he has since he's joined the Cubs. So. Yeah, Sean, if you plan on going to the playoffs, Shota Imanaga is probably going to get the start no matter what, right? He's probably going to be considered your ace, but you got to go get a number 2. You have to, because I don't think Jamison Taillon's a number 2. Colin Ray's certainly not number 2. The only thing, like I said, we talked about this last week. Matthew Boyd to me is a conundrum. If Matthew Boyd continues to pitch the way he's pitching, he could be a number 2. He could be a number 2.
Matthew Boyd, my friends, is. And they had this on before the game, and I took a picture. Strikeout to walk ratio, number 1 in the league is Tariq Skubal. You know who number 2 is? Matthew Boyd. It is a steep drop off from 32% to 13%. But and this is since May 1st, excuse me, not on the season. This is May 1st. And another guy that I brought up last week, who's 3rd on the list. On a team that is spiraling in the wrong direction, Kevin Guzman, older, he's on Toronto, 40 strikeouts to 3 walks. He's number 3 on the list since May 1st. Another guy having a really good season. His whip is under 1. A guy you could probably acquire from a Toronto Blue Jays team that's going to not be able to catch up to the Red Sox.
Yeah, and Sean, another thing you got to consider, and I'm not saying you
The
should.
Yankees, excuse me.
Not saying you should expect it, but you should consider when trading for one of these guys. And I'm not talking about Sandy Alcantara, where you're expecting his ERA to drop from 7 to 2, but one of these guys who's got like a 3.5 ERA, but has been much better his entire career. He's just having a bad season. Sometimes all it takes to get that guy back down to a 2 ERA or 2.5 ERA is a change of scenery. And we've seen that before. You brought up Cole Hamels a couple times. That guy he looked pretty average. So the Cubs traded for him. And he came here and he was amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe you get that same thing out of a Guzman or who's the guy on the Diamondbacks that the Cubs people are saying could be
Merrill Kelly.
No, their ace. Zach Gallen, that's another guy. He hasn't been amazing this year, but maybe all he needs is a change of scenery and he goes back to full form. And like we've talked about, Sean, by all accounts, the Cubs seem to have one of the best pitching coach staffs in all Major League Baseball. They do this a lot where they pick up a guy who's hasn't been really that great for his career. He comes here and he's an all-star. Maybe they should consider doing something like that. The only guy I just don't like the Sandy Alcantara. I don't like it. There's just nothing about it. I've looked at the numbers every way I possibly can. There's nothing about it that I like. Why would you, if you could spend that money on a pitcher who's proven he's a good pitcher rather than spending that money on a guy who you're going to bring here and try to revive his career after this brutal injury? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Sam. I wanted to ask you this too, because I brought this up when we talk about 2016. Obviously the frontline pitching is not there, but when you start talking about an offensive juggernaut with Rizzo, you had the Rizzo factory, you had Ben Zobrist, obviously there. Javier Baez,
Dexter Fowler,
and great defense historically can carry you through. Well, the Cubs are more offense right now, and bullpen, which we did not think coming into the season would be a strength of this ball club, but it has turned into. Do you see any resemblance between 2016? I mean, obviously we don't have the John Lester here, and we don't have a Kyle Hendricks, but I do kind of think we do have a Kyle Hendricks when Shota returns to the bump. There is Reese McGuire. Oh, just hooked it foul. Damn it.
Yeah, I mean, there's I guess you could say there's some similarities, especially in terms of the lineup. I think they're both really, really good offensive teams historically. But yeah, Sean, I mean, if you're talking about a 1-2-3 of John Lester, Jake Arrieta, and Kyle Hendricks, there's nothing to compare there. I mean, Shota Imanaga is the closest to all three of them, and all three of them might be better than he is. So I don't see any similarities in terms of the rotation. That's disappointing because if the Cubs had that rotation this season, they would be strong consideration to win the World Series. But
yeah, oh God,
Sean, it's not done. And you know what, Sean? I think they could fix the bullpen. And I don't understand the bullpen's been good, but they could still use a couple arms, right? And I think they can do that through the farm system. A guy like Luke Little could come up here once Porter Hodge comes back. You're talking about a really good bullpen. If you're talking about Daniel Palencia, Drew Pomerantz, Caleb Thielbar, Brad Keller, you bring up a guy like Luke Little, Porter Hodge comes back. That's a really good bullpen. The problem with the Cubs is the same thing we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks. It's the rotation, man. At some point, if the Cubs are going to go to a playoff series against the Dodgers, Mets, Phillies, you got to go get a shutdown pitcher. At least a guy who can be good. I mean, Sean, you're going to face their best. Every team we just said, if you go to the playoffs against them, you're going to get their three best pitchers in the playoff series. So either the Cubs offense needs to be the best in the history of baseball, or they got to go get a guy who can go pitch for pitch against a guy like Yamamoto or Nola or any of these guys that are going to show up in the playoffs. You need to get a guy who can go pitch for pitch with these guys.
And I'll give you another name that I don't know if he's flying under the radar, but when no one watches the Colorado Rockies, there's a guy by the name of Jake Bird on the Colorado Rockies. He's rocking a 1.60 earned run average and 34.2 innings pitched. He has 42 strikeouts. He is that second in baseball for relievers. This is a guy you bring in, and holy crap, you just all of a sudden your bullpen took a huge, huge leap. And I'll tell you, it's the Rockies. They're going to trade him. So see what you can get for him. Get this guy in that bullpen. I think you're looking okay. And that would be a huge, huge step for the Cubs.
Well, and that's a name that has been talked about before for the Cubs. I think it was last season they were talking about Bird. So yeah, I mean it's not out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, the Cubs notice him. They see that they know he's there. They know he's on a team that is absolutely just abysmal out of it. Maybe the worst baseball team in the history of Major League Baseball. So I think you look at these teams like the Pirates. You look at these teams like the White Sox. You look at these teams like any of the bottom feeders, Sean, at this point right now, any of these teams, and there's arms to be had, man. If you just got to make a call and see what they want. But yeah, I mean, if the Cubs could probably realistically use 2 starting pitchers and a bullpen pitcher, if they really want to be like, if they want to go all in for World Series this season, that's what I would expect from the Cubs. Go get 2 starting pitchers. And we heard, wasn't it Bruce Levine, Sean, who came out and said the Cubs are actually looking for 2 starting arms? Is that Bruce Levine that came out? Yeah, I mean, if they did that and they get some help in the bullpen from their farm system, or maybe even add somebody in a pitch or in a trade, like they go to a team and they acquire a starting pitcher and a bullpen pitcher from the same team, you're talking about the World Series aspirations becoming a lot more realistic. And I think this team is in the conversation. You know what they are, Sean? They're a Justin Steele away from being a real contender for the World Series, because their pitching right now just won't stand up against the Mets and the Dodgers and the Phillies. And Sean, maybe they can go to the playoffs and beat one of these teams. Maybe they can beat one of these teams. They get Imanaga, they get Boyd, they get Horton. They can beat one of these teams. But eventually you expect Horton to have some ups and downs, especially in clutch situations like the playoffs. Matthew Boyd's been inconsistent his entire career, although when he's good, he's great. And then Imanaga, I love the guy to death. He's great, but I love Imanaga more as a number 2 than I do as the ace rotation, because when he is having one of those days where he's getting nothing but fly balls, some of those are going to go out, especially when you're talking about guys like Ohtani, Freeman, Betts. Some of those balls are going to leave the yard. So either the Cubs have to have the best offense in the history, or they need to go get a pitcher.
I'll tell you this, man. You get me a Chris Sale. He's on a 2-year deal. Next year is a club option at his age 37. See what the Braves kick the tires on it at least. You add a Merrill Kelly, or you add a Zach Gallen, maybe an Eflin, maybe a Guzman. Well, Chris Sale can be
Tyler Mahle.
Tyler Mahle. You can. I hear for me, and I don't know if you're with me on this. Chris Sale will be a front end guy, swing and miss stuff. He's got a 293 earned run average. He's rocking a 1-0 whip right now. This guy can be your guy. Since April 19th, he has allowed 2 runs or less in every single one of his starts. This guy helps you get to where you want to be. In my opinion, I would be at least kicking the tires on it. Again, he's 36. He's 37 next year, but it is a club option. So the Cubs trade, you don't have to keep him at 37 years old. But
the problem with Chris Sale is, even if the Braves could believe that they're out of it this season, Sean, I think that they believe they can go into next season and make a run at the World Series, especially with a healthy Ronald Acuna all season. So I just don't know how much they're going to be willing to part with. Now, maybe if they're like, hey, we got some guy in our farm system who's really young, looks really good, we can bring him up here. He's going to be in this rotation next year. Maybe they'd be willing to part ways with a guy who's obviously a little bit longer in the tooth, Chris Sale, but I don't expect the Braves to break that team apart by any means necessary. I think that they think that team has a couple of years worth of a championship window. I think the Braves should have won the championship a couple of years ago when the top 2 MVP candidates were Ronald Acuna and what's the first baseman's name there? I always forget.
Matt Olson.
Yeah, Matt Olson, those 2 guys. And then obviously Acuna was playing very well as well. That was their season to me to win a World Series. They blew it. I think it was against the Phillies. They ended up losing the playoffs against. But yeah, I mean, if they're willing to take calls for Chris Sale, I would definitely call and see what they're looking for. But I just don't expect that team to break it all down and be major sellers at the trade deadline, because I think they're going to be good for the next few years here. But like I said, Joe, I don't want to repeat myself over and over, beat a dead horse here, but I would look at some of those bottom feeder teams, and they all have starting caliber pitchers on their roster somewhere. Let's see if you can pry one of them off there. And those teams that are the bottom feeders, I don't think they're going to be looking for a ton. I mean, they just want to improve, right? Like you talk about a team like the Pirates, and Owen Casey would help them big time. A team like the Rockies, Owen Casey would help them big time. I mean, somebody who could at least sell tickets for them, because right now, the Rockies and Pirates outside of Paul Skeens, there's just nothing to watch.
No. And you know, the two things when it comes to Atlanta is they still have Spencer Strider and they still have Schwallenbach, so they do have some young guys in that front of that rotation. But I would be okay with Bailey Falter. I mean, Bailey Falter over his last 6 starts has been absolutely lights out for the Pittsburgh Pirates. His 349 earned run average, 112 whip. But if you look at his last 6, he has been one of the best pitchers in baseball. It's just, it gets a little tricky when you start dealing within your division, that gets a little iffy.
Yeah, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. I mean, if the Pirates want good players, the Cubs, by all accounts, have one of the best farm systems in baseball. That's a team you probably want to trade with, right? You don't want to try the Cubs are offering us some really good prospects, but we don't want to trade in the division, so we'll take some shitty prospects outside of the division. Like that would be really stupid by the Pirates. And Sean, if the Pirates would have had those two guys and Skeens and Jared Jones would have been here all season, that's a much different team. But nothing ever seems to go right for the Pirates, and they don't like paying anybody. So eventually they need to start looking for young talent that's going to be cheap for them with team control for a long time, and the Cubs have that. And Kevin Alcantara, Owen Casey, Jefferson Rojas, Christian Hernandez. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. If I'm a team looking to trade away some of my pieces I have on the team right now for young farm system talent, I would be calling the Cubs for sure.
Too, and as we roll on here, leadoff walks are never good. Former Cub Zach McKinstry is up as Taillon led off the third with a walk.
And Taillon, as much as I like him and how great he's been this season, he's not the same pitcher on the road as he is at home. So the Cubs need to score runs. It's time for this lineup to score runs. It's time, man. I'm shocked. Yeah, listen, you're playing Skubal. I get it. You're not going to score a ton of runs. The pitcher that's pitching for the Pirates today is for the Detroit Tigers today is not the best. Montero's not the best pitcher in baseball. This is a guy you need to score runs off of. Yeah, if you want to beat the Tigers, this is a guy you need to score runs off of. This is it.
And if the Cubs ball double play for the Cubs, yeah. And if the Cubs Sweeney up, I thought it was McKinstry. Sorry,
Sean. If the Cubs take this game and they split the first two, I nailed our looking ahead.
You did.
I nailed it, dude. I said they would lose to Gore. I said they'd beat Cincinnati twice, and I said they'd split these first two games with Detroit, and obviously they're going to lose to Skubal. If they win today, I nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, I'm on the outside looking in. If they lose today, I win, which I'm pulling for you to win this week, Kyle. Because,
I would hope so.
The Cubs need this win in Motown today in the worst way. And as we continue on this gauntlet, man.
Sean, the good news is, though, today the Cardinals get Yamamoto.
That's good.
Good luck, boys.
I don't know who the hell that guy was on the bump for the Dodgers yesterday. What a joke.
Sean, I've never heard of that guy.
I never heard of that guy either.
I watch the Dodgers closely because obviously that's a team that the Cubs are going to have to compete for to win a World Series. I've never heard of that guy who pitched for the Cardinals yesterday or for the Dodgers yesterday. When I looked at that Cardinals-Dodgers box score, I'm like, oh, great. So they finally have to play the Dodgers, and they get this guy. Why didn't we get this guy? Why didn't the Cubs get to play this guy? Who the hell is this guy? He had like a 7 ERA. I'm like, I didn't even know the Dodgers had a pitcher on the team with a 7 ERA. Who is this guy? Of course he's pitching because he's playing the Cardinals. I feel like the Cardinals have gotten a lot of breaks this season, Sean. At some point, that's going to turn around. That doesn't happen. It's very rare that for the entire season, a team just constantly is running into the worst pitchers on the opposing team. Eventually, the Cardinals are going to have to start beating good quality teams with good quality pitching. And the Cardinals just lost 2 out of 3 to the Royals. Sean, the Royals are not an amazing baseball team by any means.
No, they just got beat by the Sox. The stupid Royals cost me my parlay yesterday, for the love of Christ. I took all the teams playing the worst teams in baseball, and the Sox had to figure out a way to score 7 runs and beat them.
Sean, I know you could say this about a lot of teams in baseball, but if you take Bobby Witt off the Royals, where are they?
They're pretty awful.
They're bad, dude.
Although that new Jack Cagliano is pretty damn good, or is going to be pretty damn good.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at the box score, every time the Royals win, I look at the box score, it's Bobby Witt 3 for 4, Bobby Witt 3 for 4, Bobby Witt 4 for 4, Bobby Witt 2 for 4 with 2 home runs. It's like without Bobby Witt, that team is awful.
Yeah, and what time were we at here? About 50 minutes in. Yeah, as we roll through, man, these next 26 days are going to be critical for the Cubs because this 9-game road trip continues to Philadelphia, come home for 4 against the Pirates. And my friends, that's the last below 500 team we're going to see for quite some time.
Yeah, but you still got to see Paul Skeens.
Yep, we got Milwaukee coming in after that, followed by the Mariners. Then we go to St. Louis for 4. Then we get the Astros for 3. So we finished this 26 games in 26 days with 7 on the road, 4 in St. Louis, and then 3 in Houston before we get a break on July 1st. So we got a lot. The Cubs got a litmus test here. Can this rotation hold the line? It's going to be interesting to see. Will Cade Horton continue to develop into that front-end pitcher? He definitely looks like he's going to be dominant sometime here in the near future. Don't know if that's going to be this year, but he definitely looks like everything they advertise as a front-end starter for the Chicago Cubs. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting because I think if the Cubs can survive this 26 games in 26 days, I think I'm going to start feeling a lot more comfortable about saying NL Central champs because the schedule gets outside of the trip to the Bronx. Go look at the schedule after this 26 days. It starts to get a little bit easier. And I know Cleveland's mixed in there, and there's a couple of other teams over 500, but let's be honest, they're over 500 now. Cleveland's 3 games over 500. When we play them in 4 weeks, they might not be. So,
yeah, and Sean, it's hindsight's 2020, but too bad the Cubs missed on a guy like Jordan Wicks. Didn't draft somebody else because that was a top 10 pick. They could have had somebody here that's making a major league impact. Could have had somebody here making a major league impact in this rotation. And can you imagine if instead of Jordan Wicks, they had drafted somebody else? And you're talking about next year going to Justin Steele, Shota Imanaga, Matthew Boyd, whoever they drafted instead of Jordan Wicks, and then whoever they trade for this season. And I hate to leave James Tyan on the outside looking in, but his contract was only, 4 years, I believe, right? So is this his second to last season on the Cubs? Or is this his last season?
Or Tyan?
Yeah.
I think he has 1 more year. Let me double check.
I mean, I hope there's a team option because if they can add a stud pitcher and Justin Steele gets back, Cade Horton's healthy, I mean, I would seriously consider cutting ties with James Tyan. And like I said, he's been great this season, man. He's awesome. But since he's joined the Cubs, it's honestly in his major league career, he's incredibly inconsistent. And that's not a guy you want to put on the mound in the playoffs against a team like the Dodgers, man.
He is on the Cubs through 2027, my friend, and he will make $18 million for the next 2 seasons. So he will not be going anywhere unless they figure out a trade, and they just struck out Suzuki. This Montero guy is coming out with an attitude. He's firing and showing no intimidation for the Chicago Cubs.
And once again, Sean, they're playing out of the Cubs are being very uncharacteristic today. This guy has 26 pitches. Like, guys, you got to at least have good at bats. You don't have to hit home run every time you're up, but have good at bat. You can't let him get you out 2 pitches or 3 pitches every time. I mean, you got to get these pitch counts up.
Oh, Dansby Swanson, first pitch swinging, top fly to the first baseman. Love of Christ, in foul territory.
The Cubs need to start fouling off some pitches here, man. This is why I love Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw is a guy who it just feels like every at bat is a battle. Every single at bat, every time that guy steps to the plate, it's a battle, man. A battle.
Well, I will tell you this, and we're going to get to this minor league report here, but the Cubs do have that bullpen has been stepping up, and I have to say something too here because I was not big on Caleb Thielbar. He started the season slow, but he is one of the 4 Cubs relievers right now that haven't allowed an earned run in over a month. That's Flexen, Pomerantz, Keller, and Thielbar. Thielbar has been excellent. Keller out there throwing 100 miles per hour for the first time in his MLB career at an accelerated age is quite impressive as well. So,
Sean, is there any news on Eli Morgan at all? What's going on with that guy?
I have not seen anything on Eli Morgan. He might be looking at a lost season. Let me look. Eli Morgan.
I mean, this guy is the guy, when you looked at all the trades or the additions they made in the offseason, that's the guy I circled, and I'm like, this guy's got a 1.3 ERA, and he's coming to the Cubs. This is a good bullpen piece for the future. And then he comes out.
He's out. He's out for a while. He's on the 60-day DL with a right elbow impingement.
Yeah, but how long has he been on the DL? It's got to be approaching 60 days. He's been out for a long time, man.
He was moved to the 60-day DL on May 10th. He originally was put on the DL on April 15th, and on May 10th, he was moved to the 60-day DL.
So, sometimes they'll
make it retroactive.
Yeah, prorate, whatever you want to call it. And so if you talk about that, you're talking about being back sometimes at the end of this month, right? But yeah, I mean, it's at some point, Sean, you're gonna have to see what you got in guys like Luke Little, or you're gonna have to go make a trade. I mean,
hold on, I gotta look at this pitch that PCA does not look happy about striking out on here. Let's see. Oh my God! Are you kidding? This umpire's blind as shit. Up and out of the zone. Huh. Jesus. Well, if he's getting strikes like that, they're not gonna fucking hit him. That is ridiculous. It's 6 inches off the plate, high and outside. For the love of everything holy. You can't be calling those pitches. That wasn't nowhere near the freaking zone, dude.
Automatic strike zone is coming, Sean. It's coming.
I mean, that's unbelievable. That is unfucking freaking believable. That pitch, that you cannot make that call. Number one, I could see if it was on the zone, maybe outside or inside on the plate, but it's high and outside, about 3 to 4 inches off of the plate, high and outside. Like, whatever. This umpire's an asshole. He's been doing this whole game. He's been squeezing the Cubs and giving this pitcher on the Tigers, Montero, some gifts. Jerk off.
Maybe that's why they've been so good at home.
It's truly unbelievable, man. But as we wind down, oops, wrong one. I had to change that up here. As we wind down and we move on to the farm report, this is where we are with the Chicago Cubs. This is where we are right now, where they stand. 39-24, first in Central, 25 games with 7 runs or more. Best run differential in baseball, second most runs scored, 7 straight series wins, and they have won 16 of their last 22 after yesterday. Still red hot, still a lot to believe in, still some things to fix. But I do like where they are. There was, I like these crazy stats that I find. And let me see if I can find this really quick. The Cubs have done something that was actually is absolutely crazy. God damn, where did this go? In 21, here it is. In 21 of their 39 wins this season, the Cubs have scored more runs in a single inning than their opponent have scored in the whole game. Thank you, Christopher Karma, for that little nugget of the week. That is an awesome stat. So they are putting up monster innings in 2025, my friends. But let's move on because we have some fun stuff. And boy, it looks like I might have. Oh no, it's right here. Let's move on down to the farm where I have to give props to my boy here, man. Yes, he did it. Your May Midwest Player of the Month is Jefferson Rojas, the Cubs' number 6 prospect /337, 416, and 561. That's a 9, almost 1,000 OBP for the month. He led the league with 4 triples, and he is on a current 22-game on-base streak. Jefferson Rojas, I love you, my guy.
Yeah, Sean, it won't be long before he is the Cubs' number 1 prospect. He is Jefferson Rojas. When they got him, he was supposed to be very good. He's been good. He's going to continue to be good. I think he's going to get better as his career grows here, as he grows as a baseball player. But yeah, he to me is the star of the Cubs farm system. And when he comes up here, when they feel like he's ready to play at the major league level, I think he's going to be in the superstar consideration. Jefferson Rojas is an absolute stud, and he's an amazing athlete as well. It's not just at the plate, guys. He is absolutely an all-around 5-tool great baseball player, and he is going to be the number 1 prospect in the farm system. That's one guy, Sean, for me, if I'm a Cubs fan and if I'm the Cubs front office, especially if you're going to take this cheap route where you don't want to pay anybody and you want to win through your farm system, that guy's untouchable. If I'm the Chicago Cubs, you are not trading. I'm not trading Jefferson Rojas.
He just called that same strike high and outside on Kerry Carpenter, about 3 inches off the plate. So I guess I can't be too mad because he's calling it both ways.
Oh, yeah, you can. Because these guys get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to call these pitches, strikes, or balls. So open your eyes, man.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You can absolutely be upset. It's baseball seems like the only sport in the world where everybody can screw up all the time. Hitters can be at 30% for their career, and they're gods. Absolutely. If they're hitting 300, they're amazing, and they're getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, Sean, can you imagine if you were shooting 30% from the free throw line?
Yeah, right.
You'd be cut off the NBA roster. Baseball is just an odd sport, man.
As we continue on, I just wanted to give a quick update. Jackson Wiggins, one of the Cubs' top pitching prospects, was promoted. He's had 2 starts since his promotion, 11 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 9 strikeouts. He just started yesterday, it was yesterday. He had 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts for South Bend. So he's looking like he's there. Jonathan Long yesterday, 3 for 3. He's the league. He has currently the league leading hitter at 359 in the International League. He came into the game hitting 349. He raised his average 10 points. That was on this past Thursday. And I got to give Kyle, because this is one of Kyle's favorite minor leaguers, Mr. Luke Little, came in, earned his first save 1 inning pitched, 3 strikeouts. His earned run average is sitting at 121. Kyle, you want to talk about your guy?
Yeah, Sean, you've heard me talk about this a million times. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but yeah, when you can get a guy, if Luke Little can somehow find a way to get his control, hone in on his control and his location. I mean, if anybody who can throw the ball 100 miles an hour plus, Sean, that's automatically going to be a good player in baseball as long as you can hit your spots. And it seems to me like over the last month and a half, Luke Little has been that guy. And to be honest with you, Sean, when they brought him up the first time this season, I think the first and only time, I don't think he was given much of a chance. I mean, I think he had 1 inning where he allowed a couple of hits, and they were like, all right, well, we're done with you. Well, I mean, dude, this is the guy's coming up playing in a Major League Baseball stadium in front of 35,000 people. Maybe he was just nervous. Let him settle down a little bit, have a conversation with him. But, I mean, Sean, the guy's so big, by the time the ball gets out of his hand, it's already halfway to home plate. I mean, this is a guy who has a lot of potential. He could be a very, very good relief pitcher for you for a long time. He throws well over 100 miles an hour. He can do 102, 103. He's a beast.
He's just a monster.
Bring him up here and be patient with him. And I understand. And Sean, pitch him in games where you're winning by 5. You know what I'm saying? Pitch him in games where you're down by 8. Pitch him in
Let him get comfortable.
You don't have to bring him in and automatically be like, oh, it's 1-1, the top of the 10th. It's time for Luke Little to come in. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, get him comfortable. Kind of like how you rebuilt Presley this season. You know, bring him into these high leverage situations. 3, 4, 5-run leads. And just get him comfortable. And then when you see him being consistent, you throw him in some high leverage and see where he's at. I agree with you.
Same thing they did with Porter Hodge. Same thing they did with Porter Hodge. Porter Hodge was doing that when Porter Hodge first got up here. They were putting him in when they were down by 4 runs, 5 runs. Like, do the same thing with Luke Little. And then once you feel like he's comfortable at the major league level and he knows that he's here to stay and he's confident in his stuff, then start to, sprinkle him into some higher leverage situations. You're up by 2 in the 8th inning. Then you can see what Luke Little has got. But yeah, I certainly believe, Sean, I don't know, you can disagree with me if you want, but I believe he's earned his shot. He should be up here. I agree. I think it's coming. I think it's coming very soon.
At this point, I heard if there was an injury, I read this week, if there was an injury, the next man up would be Kenta Mahida, which he actually, after his first outing, his last 2 outings have been, and I forgot to write his numbers down, but if you go look at them, they have not been bad. He is still giving up a couple of runs to AAA. I don't like that, so I hope that report is not
true.
I'm
sorry, but I'm out on Kenta Maeda.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm sorry. I mean, what is he, 39?
Yeah, he's old, man. Enough with these reclamation progress.
Yeah, I'm done with it, man. Sean, let me ask you, be honest up front.
I want to see Connor Nolan, to be honest with you.
Be honest with me. If you're a major league manager, what does Luke Little have to do to prove to you that he belongs in major leagues? Like, what can he accomplish at the AAA level to be like, you know what, this guy probably deserves to be in a major league roster? What would he have to do? You tell me.
I don't know.
Would he have to have an ERA sub 2, get his first save, not allow a run for the last 10 games? Would it basically be exactly what he's done for the last month? I mean, we talked about this with Cade Horton. When Cade Horton had those 6 good starts in a row in minor leagues, we're like, well, what else can he do down there? What else could Cade Horton possibly do in the minors to prove that he's capable of pitching in the majors? I mean, I'm in the same spot with Luke Little. There's not much more he can do at AAA. I mean, every time he goes down, we send him down to AAA, he absolutely dominates the competition. If there's a problem with the transition from AAA to the major league and he's absolutely dominating everybody in AAA, it's probably a mental thing, right? That would be my assumption. Obviously, the stuff is there. You've seen it. He strikes people out I think he faced 4 batters in that save, and he struck out 3 of them. Obviously, he has the stuff. So it's something mental, and the Cubs just need to pull him aside and have a conversation with him. Like, hey, listen, man, you don't have to be perfect every day. Go out there and be who you are. Throw that stuff that we know nobody can hit. When you're in location, you're throwing 103 miles an hour. Nobody can hit that. There's not a player in Major League Baseball who's going to – you're not going to go out and allow 3 runs if you keep pitching like that. So just go out there and be who you are. I mean, that's basically the same conversation that who was it? Justin Turner had to have with Daniel Palencia. Like, hey, man, I don't want to face you when you're on. I don't want to face you. I've been in this game for a long time. So give Luke Little the same opportunity you gave Daniel Palencia, man. They were super patient with Palencia. When Palencia first came up here, he was not good.
He was wild, dude. He had no control over that fastball. He was
awful. Yeah. So why doesn't Luke Little get the same leash? I don't understand it. I mean, Sean, ultimately, baseball in today's day and age, and you can disagree with me if you like, but this is the way it's going. You got to throw 99. You got to throw 100. You got to throw. If you want to be considered one of the best pitchers of baseball, you got to be a guy who can throw 9. Sean, like you just said, the reason Brad Keller's been so good this season.
Yeah. Bush, 2-run dinger, Cubs up 3-0, baby.
Yeah, Sean, you want to? I don't want to change the subject, but you want to talk about somebody on the Cubs? Michael Bush has been.
You know what, Kyle? My
Jesus.
player of the week is Michael Bush, and we're going to talk about him. I actually was about to fire this up before this home run. And folks that are watching, I'm not lying about I was about to fire this up because check this out. Who's that? Whose profile that I did? There's his home and road splits. That's what this guy ranks at first base. I wanted to talk about Michael Bush because all this dude does is mash. That was a bomb, dude. That was about 15 rows back. Atta boy. But before we move to Michael Bush, I wanted to touch on what our producer, Mr. Bruce, touched on a little bit earlier. Jake Warford was signed by the Chicago Cubs, and the Iowa Cubs put a thing out on his first outing. His debut was tremendous for the Cubs. He worked 3 scoreless innings, 3 strikeouts. He allowed 1 hit. His repertoire is sinker, sweeper, and a changeup. And they are saying he looks sharp. Before coming to the Cubs, he was pitching with the Yankees at AAA Scranton for them. So that's hopefully maybe something that'll work out. Maybe a guy that you can bring up.
Sean, do you have his ERA on the season?
I do not. I just
Bruce, maybe you could find that for us.
Yeah, look for Jake Wolford, his earned run average on the season. I actually just saw this morning and just decided to throw it in there, and Bruce touched on it. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this because Michael Bush, who just hit a 2-run dinger to put the Cubs up 3-0 in the top of the 5th inning. Michael Bush, home and away. And guys, this is a perfect segue because when you look at him on the road this year, what does the thing say? Michael Bush is raking on the road. What does he just do? A 3-run dinger. So let's add up that batting average. Let's make that a little bit higher. Let's add a home run. Let's make that 8, and let's give him 2 more RBIs, and that's 26. He only had 1 at bat yesterday, so this could all fluctuate.
This guy's. He's not playing every day. Those numbers, those RBI numbers would be higher. Those home run numbers would be higher. I mean, I don't understand the Craig Counsell's disdain for Michael Bush against lefties. Listen. Is he worse against lefties than he is righties? Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Every batter in baseball is worse against one or the other. But I don't think it's bad enough to be benching him against lefties.
I don't either.
He's not that bad. I mean, he still hits for power against lefty. I mean, he strikes out a little more often, but he still hits for power. He's still hitting home runs and doubles and triples. I mean, Sean, in that Washington series when Michael Bush came in and hit a home run, I think he had a home run and a triple that game. They said his last 6 at bats that game, that was the stat on the screen. He had 2 home runs, 2 triples, and 2 walks. I mean, this guy's on the pace hits for the cycle every day. Leave him here. Leave him there. I don't understand it. I don't know if they just think he's still developing. He's still just too young to be an everyday player, or maybe they don't think he can handle every 162 games. But
I mean,
I'm never disappointed by Michael Bush, and I'm never disappointed to see Michael Bush in the lineup. I don't understand it.
You have 32 first basemen or 30 first basemen starting in baseball. He's 4th, 5th, 6th, 5th. He's basically in the top 5 in every single category.
Yeah.
Barrel percentage, RBI.
Sean, once again, the RBIs would be higher than 6th if he wasn't benched for 30 games this season.
So many games. And you know this. I'm a huge Michael Bush fan. I always have been. I actually had a custom jersey of his made beginning of last season. And it was a 1984 throwback jersey because it's one of my favorite Cubs style jerseys, the solid blue with the Cubby bear in the upper over your heart. I love it. When we go to the game, when we see Bobby Witt versus PCA on July, as long as it's not 700 degrees outside, I'm going to wear that particular jersey. I love me some Michael Bush. Hopefully there's not a left-hander on the mound so I don't get to not see him play.
Bruce, do you have his numbers for this season? I see you said he had a 10 earned run average last season when he was in the White Sox, but does you have his numbers for this season?
At all?
2025. I mean, that 10 earned run average is not good. That's not good. That does not make me hope, just itching and praying he gets up here soon. That's not good. But yeah, I mean, to me, if you look at the farm system, Luke Little's the answer. That's just me personally. Luke Little. If the Cubs need one more guy in the bullpen, until Porter Hodge gets back, for me, Luke Little's the answer.
Yeah, and we're not gonna try and keep anybody away from watching this Cubs game anymore. And we appreciate everyone that's hung out with us and checked in throughout the show. I know a couple people left because they wanted to watch the game, and I can't blame you at all. I wish we could broadcast the game while we were talking, so we could have kept you with us. But I don't want Marquis hunting me down, knocking on my front door. But we do have a big week ahead for the Chicago Cubs. So we're going to take a look ahead. I believe that Kyle is going to win the award, but Bruce is going to tie with him this week because they both had 5-2 for the Chicago Cubs this week. I took them at 4-3.
Nice job, Brucey.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought that the Cubs would split with the Reds. You guys had a lot more confidence than I did. So let me tip my cap. Good job, boys. That's I've got one of the week so far. I got to get back on the
Well, Sean, that first game against the Reds, that was a nail biter. I'm like, oh God, please, please.
Well, Zach McKinstry just let off with a triple.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that guy is a pain in the. Oh, it's gonna be a home run. Oh no, good backup by Tyon. Good job, dude. That would have been an inside the park home run. They over 3/3
Sean,
base.
that's not. They have an out. That's not the leadoff hitter.
Oh shit, I missed it while I was looking over here. So he needs a big strikeout now, or it's going to be a 3-1 ball game. Zach McKinstry continues to be a thorn in the side.
No, of course he is, because he sucked on the Cubs. So of course he's a thorn in the Cubs side.
You want to know what though? I did see yesterday. He has the highest, or I think it was the second highest batting average of any baseball player at home this season. So it's not just against the Cubs. He's raking at home. So got to give him a little props. You know, Zach McKinstry can still kiss my beep. That's what I got to say about that.
Real quick, Sean, I just wanted to, Foster says he likes the Sox Bulls jerseys. That I liked them too, man. I would definitely. I'm not a huge Sox fan. I don't hate the Sox like Sean does, but I'm a Chicago guy first before anything else. So if the Cubs don't win, let it be the Sox. I don't care. It's also good for bartenders when any Chicago team makes the playoffs. But he also says if anybody lives in the Chicagoland area, get an HD antenna, and on channel 62.2 and 62.3, they broadcast the Hawks, Bulls, and Sox games for free. So thanks for letting us know that, Foster. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, boss, I'm going to have to get that because I have YouTube, and YouTube said they were never going to strike a deal with CHSN. So, and unfortunately for me, oh man, dude, if that throw was low, he would have had him at the plate. That was a nice try by Matt Shaw, though. A little high and outside. He's definitely safe, no doubt about it.
Here's the concerns with Tyon, Sean. It's always the fifth, sixth inning where when he falls off hard and fast, man.
All right, he's got a lazy pop fly. First base, Michael Bush. All right, two down. We just got to get him through one more inning, and then I think we can turn this over to the bullpen. He's only at 59 pitches.
That's what I'm saying. This guy should be able to go 80 pitches without getting himself in trouble. I mean, it's every time the third time through the order, he just seems to fall apart, and I don't understand. Especially on the road. At home, he's been great. At home, he's been absolutely outstanding. But on the road, man, every time he gets that third time through the order, he starts to get hit hard, and that's what I'm talking about. So you're going to go into the playoffs and put Jameson Tyon as your number 2? I don't think so. I wouldn't, unless you're at home throughout the entire playoffs.
Yeah, you don't see a bullpen starts in the playoffs too often, do you?
No. All right, Sean, let's look at this week ahead so we can all go.
Yeah, let's take a look. We're gonna fly into Philadelphia after this, and
oh God.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be.
Abel has a .79 ERA.
So this is going to be his second start. His first start obviously went fantastic for Mr. Mick Abel for the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll see if he can continue that against the Chicago Cubs. I don't know who we started against. I forgot to look at that. I can tell you right now though. Hold on a second.
Bruce, that's huge. That's huge, Bruce. I did not know that. I'm surprised I did not know that because I work with one of the biggest Bryce Harper fans in the world. But thanks for putting that up there.
Harper's on that's a huge help.
That's massive.
Hey, and you want to know what's funny is sometimes, and I hate to say it, sometimes you just need a break. This is actually going to be his third start. His first start was against Pittsburgh. He went 6 innings, 5 hits. No earned runs, 9 strikeouts. His second start was 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts at Toronto. So he will be at home versus the Cubs in his 3rd major league start. And a little nugget here, my friends, on Jesse Luzardo. Mr. Luzardo, in his first, let's see, how many was this?
He gone. James Stein just got out of the innings.
Jesse Luzardo, over his last 2 starts, 5.2 innings pitched, 20 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and 4 walks. His starts before that, he had 11 starts. He allowed 16 earned runs total. He is now let up 36 runs, and 20 of those in his last 2 starts. So I'm hoping in this finale against Mr. Ben Brown, Benny from the block, that Luzardo keeps up his horrendous ways. Kyle, in Philadelphia, Zach Wheeler is doing Zach Wheeler things. You got the Rook Abel, and you got Luzardo on the bump. How are you looking? What are you thinking for the Chicago Cubs?
Well, Sean, I was going to say the Phillies take 2 out of 3, but if Bryce Harper's on the IL and you're not going to have to see him, I'm going to say the Cubs take 2 out of 3. I think that Boyd and Wheeler is going to be a battle. I mean, look at their ERAs. They're almost exactly the same. And then, obviously, if Abel continues to pitch to a .79 ERA, he's definitely they're definitely going to get the best of Colin Ray. But, yeah, I mean, you take Bryce Harper out of that lineup, it's a totally different lineup, man. So I'll take the Cubs 2 out of 3 against the Phillies.
All right, so we got 2 dubs for Kyle. I'm gonna go with you on that. I think the Cubs. I think the Rook is gonna be overmatched by the Cubs, and I think Luzardo continues on his weary ways, and I think the Cubs will struggle against Zach Wheeler. And
Sean, you know, I talked about earlier, like last week, we were talking about how we're gonna have to play Washington when they're a little bit hot.
Yeah.
Seems like the Cubs are getting the Phillies at a good time here. I mean, you just talked about Luzardo's numbers over the last 2 starts. That's absolutely abysmal, atrocious. And then losing their best player on offense is certainly not. That certainly helps the Cubs out a lot. So it seems like this time the Cubs are going to get somebody at their worst. No, not to say that the Phillies are bad even without Bryce Harper, but I'll take it.
And sometimes you just need a little bit of luck, right?
I mean, and I feel like the Cubs never get any.
No, and when you're playing 26 games in 26 days, sprinkle a little luck on there, because God knows you're going to need it in the dog days of summer. The Cubs return home finally after a long road trip of 9 days against 3 pretty damn good ball clubs. And you get Tyon versus Heaney. That second matchup is absolutely tremendous. Horton versus Skeens and Kyle. You remember when I asked you if you could take a day off from work? That would have been the pitching matchup. I told my uncle no on the tickets, but we would have been going to see Horton and Skeens, dude. Sometimes shit just don't work out your way, unfortunately.
Yeah, Sean, and you know the situation I'm in right now with this car deal. I mean, I need every dollar I can get. So as much as I would love to see Horton and Skeens, I still got to go to work. But yeah, I mean, as much as I would like to see Horton and Skeens pitch, Sean, that's my loss for the Cubs in this series right there.
That's your loss for the Cubs in this series. So you're taking the Cubs 3-1 over the weekend.
Over the weekend. Yeah, they better. I mean, first of all, you got to play better against your division. That we all know that in baseball. If you want to be a World Series contender, you got to play well against your division. Second of all, Sean, the Pirates suck. Every time I look at the box score, the Pirates lose. I don't remember the last time. I saw 1 win from them, and it was a walk-off sacrifice fly. I mean, they won by 1 run. The Pirates' offense is not good. It's not good. It's not. And all these guys the Pirates have been telling us are going to be really good players for a long time aren't. I mean, Sean, O'Neal Cruz has all the tools to be a really good player, but he reminds me a lot of Josh Bell. Like, he has all the tools to be a good player, but he's just not. When Josh Bell first came up, I looked at him, I'm like, oh my God, this guy is an absolute mammoth of a human being. He's going to be amazing. And he's not. I think, to be honest with you, Sean, the bigger in baseball, especially you're talking about at the plate, doesn't always work out in your favor for being a huge dude. For Aaron Judge, obviously it works, but if you think of go-around baseball, Sean, think about all the best hitters. Not a ton of them are really, really good.
Schwarber might have much to say, Kyle.
Yeah, well, it takes more than one, Foster. It takes more than one.
Stay safe. Hey, Foster, we're about to check out of here in a matter of moments. Hey, you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you. We'll talk to you really soon, buddy. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks, Foster. Appreciate you, man. Nice to have you in here on a Cubs show, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Bear down, Cub up. Let's go, baby. Brucey, hold on. Let's get Brucey in here.
Yeah.
Brucey, you're on the stage with us. We got this. I saw you said you got the Cubs taking 2 out of 3 versus the Phillies.
Yeah.
How many are the Cubs going to win versus the Pittsburgh?
Sean, he put it in the chat here. 3 out of 4.
3 or 4. I think 3 or 4.
So we're all of us
Yeah.
are sitting at 5-2 for the week. Okay, let me ask you. Here's the tiebreaker, my friends. If the Cubs can hold on here and win this game today, which is far from a done deal, going into the bottom of the 6th, the hardest part of baseball is recording the last 12 outs. The Cubs are about to embark on that, especially against a team who's only lost 8 games at home. I can't say it's the series-defining moment tomorrow, but you do have I forgot to make a graphic for tomorrow's matchup, and I forgot who it was. You got Horton versus an old pain in the ass, thorn in the side, Jack Flattery, former Cardinals ace, versus the Cubs. Horton 351, 121 whip. Flattery 372, 109 whip. 76 strikeouts, 20 walks for Flattery, 19 strikeouts to 5 walks for Horton on the young season. The Cubs have won, I believe, every single game that Horton has started so far in his young career. He is 3-0. Flattery is 4-6. Tomorrow in this crucial matchup, it looks like I'm looking at Flattery here. In his last, he's actually been pretty solid. His last 5 starts, 5 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, no runs, 1 run against the White Sox, Giants, Cleveland, Toronto, and Texas. So, yeah, that's some stellar competition. Texas, Toronto, and Cleveland and San Francisco. The White Sox, me. But he's recorded 8 strikeouts, 6 and 4. Do the Cubs get the Flattery tomorrow, or
I think they do, Sean, but I think Detroit gets to Horton. I think Horton does actually get his first loss of the season. It's got to happen at some point, right? Just like Sean, you said that they have 8 losses at home. The Detroit, it's going to be more than that by the time the season's over. So, but I will take the Tigers to win that game. I'm going to have the Cubs finishing 5-3 on that 8-game stretch.
5-3. Where are you at, Bruce?
I think
you could
5-2.
6-2.
6-2 or 5-3.
6-2.
6-2. All right.
Bruce is always the optimist on this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Bruce.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say the Cubs win today and back it up with Cade Horton tomorrow. Maybe what could be a high-scoring affair. The offense turns it on a little bit. Come on, catch it. Good job, Suzuki.
Yeah.
All right, we're into the 6th.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, you never know with Suzuki, man.
Jeez, Suzuki.
Yeah.
Scares me. Yeah, I'm gonna go 5-3. You guys both at 6-2. All right.
I'm gonna go 6-2, and a little exciting announcement here. 2 announcements actually. Our boy Ian Happ, the boss, joins the 500 RBI list for the Chicago Cubs. He also is the first Chicago Cub in Cub history to have 500 RBIs as a switch hitter, which is really awesome. Congratulations, Ian Happ. And then on top of that, our old 2016 1B ace behind John Lester,
The professor.
Mr. Kyle Hendricks, the professor, with his 100th win of his career. Let me tip my cap to you, Kyle. Good job.
Yes, congrats, Kyle.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive stuff. I was actually going to throw that in the Nuggets earlier today. And
Remember, guys, every good Chicago team's got a Kyle on.
Yeah.
Foster goes, I'm greedy. I need a 7-1. Oh, Foster's going 5-3. Well, I'm not going to be here. Oh, no, next Saturday I am going to be here because we're leaving Sunday morning. So I will be here next Saturday. I won't see you guys the following Saturday as I'll be in Siesta Key enjoying some sun with the family for a couple of days. But
Is that your birthday? Are you going to be out there your birthday?
No, I'm going to be up north for my birthday up at the lake house. I can't think of the name of the city. Rome, Wisconsin. Jesus Christ, Sean.
Hey, Bruce, Foster said he stuck around because he wanted to get your take on that. Thanks, Foster.
Thanks, Foster. We love you, buddy.
Love you.
And it looks like we're going to stick around to see if we get into the 7th inning and get into that 9 outs for the Cubs to steal game 2 in Motown. Come on. Oh, it's 0-2 on Mr. Green. Come on, J-Mo. Come on, buddy.
I'm not gonna lie, Sean. When I watch the Detroit Tigers, I mean they're a good team. There's no doubt about it, especially defensively and pitching. But when I look at their lineup, I'm like, how is this team
scary.
the best team in the AL?
Right?
How is that possible? Like, how are I feel like if this team was going on a playoff series against the Yankees, I'm taking the Yankees, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe call me maybe it's just because it's Detroit. They're so close, and we've had so much history with them. But I just don't. No offense, T, but I just don't see how this lineup is the best lineup in baseball this year.
Yeah.
Or leading this lineup's leading this team to the best record in baseball. I don't understand it because outside of Torkelson and maybe Javier Baez when he gets hot, but the rest of his lineup, it's like,
Hell yeah.
Sean, he's only at 75 pitches. He could go another inning if they
on.
let him.
Yes.
Hey, you want to know the truth of this matter is the pitch counts the last couple days for Ben Brown, and even before that, the day before, the last game against Washington, who was that? Colin Ray. They did the Pomeranz Colin Ray thing. Colin Ray was able to get deep into the 7th inning. This bullpen is staying very fresh. I don't even remember the last time I'd see Daniel Valencia in a ball.
Yeah, that's one thing I did not mention earlier in the show, and I wanted to. I totally forgot. But even though Ben Brown lost, props to Ben Brown for going through 7, man. I mean, the Cubs needed that. Every once in a while, you need one of your starters to give your bullpen relief. Yeah. What a great job by him, man.
And I was looking on Twitter yesterday, and I saw a lot of people saying, because they must have been caught up in the moment, and said that was the best start of Ben Brown's season this year. I beg to differ. He struck out 10 over 7 innings in Chavez Ravine, shut down that Los Angeles Dodgers lineup to everybody's surprise. Cubs won 10-0. That was, to me, his best performance. Yesterday being his second best performance.
You know what's really crazy about the Dodgers is even when they're good, they remember when the season that Jake Arrieta no-hit them?
Yeah.
Even when they're good, they have these games where it's like, dude, you expect a no-hitter against maybe the Pirates or the White Sox or the Rockies. The Dodgers are always in that conversation for that no-hit, giving a pitcher a no-hit bid. I think there was a time this season where they had no hits through 7. I mean, even when they have an amazing lineup, they're still that team. They just have. It's like maybe they all get drunk the night before. They show up at the ballpark and they just can't hit anything to save their lives. But that Jake Arrieta no hitter, it was special to do it against the Dodgers for me personally. Man, I hate the Dodgers. I hate them.
You want to know what's funny? Is I was watching. They just had because we were talking about Contreras. They're just showing a commercial. God, I really want to see some of these young kids come up, man. I really do. And obviously you can't do it right now where you're in contention.
Yeah.
PCA, man.
He's ahead of us. He's ahead of us here.
Yeah.
Foster, nice. PCA, yeah.
MVP. I mean, dude.
I'm so impressed.
I'm sorry.
I love Pico Armstrong.
Kyle Tucker's an all-star.
Nico Horner should be the conversation, Sean.
Yeah.
Dansby Swanson could be in the conversation because the shortstops in the NL right now it's nothing spectacular.
I know.
I'll tell you, man, this Cubs stream, I gotta look. Because I'm not understanding how I am live. That happened, man. This stream is way behind live television, man.
Yeah,
hey, Foster, what are you watching on right now? What are you watching on, Bruce? Are you watching on Comcast?
Yeah, Xfinity on my TV.
Xfinity?
Yeah, I think mine's faster than your app.
Yeah, well, ours is streaming, so Bruce's is ahead because it's live.
Yeah.
You know what, PCA? No, yesterday, that ball he hit, his first at bat wouldn't have been a home run. It would have been off the top of the fence. But, man, this guy can hit anything.
Sean, I talked about this with you yesterday. Even when PCA is struggling, because I saw some during the Washington Serious, they put a statistic up that said he had struck out 14 of his last 33 plate appearances, but he still sneaks out like solo home runs and shit. Like he's always dangerous, man. You got to keep. And you know what? I think he earned that one because I think this umpire is pissing him off beyond all belief. He wanted to hit that home run.
Look at that all-star team right there, dude. Those are all studs. What team is this? Is this a USA team? You have Hunter Green. Sit back up the middle. I was really happy to see.
I don't think that's Hunter Green. I think that's the green.
No, it's not Hunter Green. That's
the green on Detroit.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say Hunter Green.
I was like, he looks a little white for Hunter.
Riley Green. Riley Green. Sorry, Riley Green. Pete Crow Armstrong, man, that was an all-star team right there, dude. Holy crap, Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah.
And you know what? I love this though. I love this. You have Suzuki in playing right field, so you're getting a rather warm day where Kyle Tucker only has to hit, so he's actually getting what you would consider a rest day today, which is fantastic. And tomorrow you can put him back in the lineup and have him play right field. I guess.
Sean,
with Ian Happ as well.
Sean, Foster says he's listening to the radio. He said, "I ain't paying to watch."
Oh.
And then. Yeah, Sean, I hope if they make their defense replacements here soon, I hope Suzuki's not in right field.
Here we go. Well, if they do, I'm saying, you could bring Kyle Tucker in and for defensive replacement in a close game in the ninth, but like tomorrow, you want to give Ian Happ the day off, let him pitch hit or let him DH and put Suzuki in left, and then you go to Philadelphia, your outfield's a little bit more rested. I don't know how you get. I don't know.
Yeah, just so that the chat knows here, guys. When Sean was talking about the defensive run saves for the Chicago Cubs' amazing outfield this season, Suzuki is not in that conversation. All right, Sean, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Hold on. There you go, Foster. Let me know because I got a hookup for you, buddy. You can watch them every day.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
Yeah, you know what? Until next week, guys. The Cubs are looking good. They got 9 outs to get to even this series up in Motown. All baseball eyes, the center of the baseball universe, is right here in Detroit. I'm actually really surprised that this wasn't the Fox game tonight at 6:15. Could you think of a better matchup on the docket? It's probably the Dodgers and the.
Well, Sean, you want to know what really pisses me off? You want to talk about disrespect?
Nah, Shaw just homered.
Shaw just homered, yeah. Sean, you want to talk about disrespect? Sean, did you see the homer?
No, not yet.
Yesterday, we couldn't watch the game at work because it was on Apple TV, right?
Yeah.
So we were on MLB. We had MLB Network on to do live cut-ins, live look-ins. They did not show the Cubs once. I mean, dude, you're talking about the 2 best teams in baseball, and they didn't do a live look-in to the Cubs once? Not once?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Why? Yeah. Yeah, no, it's.
I mean, Bruce, you were there with me. It said regional coverage and live look-ins. It was basically the Yankees and Red Sox game, and it was 7-0 in the second inning. I'm like, go look at the Cubs. It's 0-0 in the fourth. Go cut into the Cubs game.
Hey, by the way, I couldn't think of 2 better gentlemen to be live on the air with to see Matt Shaw's first professional major league home run. Yeah. That was awesome.
Oh, that's a second. That's a second.
That's his first.
No,
did he hit one last year?
No, he hit one this season as a pinch hitter.
Yeah.
It's a pinch hitter. This is his first one starting at third base.
I just looked up his stats, and it still says he has 0 home runs.
No, he had a home run this year.
Right now, 2. Right now,
he's got 2 now.
Yeah.
I literally just looked them up.
Last April. So.
April.
Yeah.
I mean, CBS must be wrong because
they probably didn't put that one on, Sean.
Well, before I said this to you, it had 0.
I'm telling you, man, he had a home run. I think it was April. He was a pinch hitter. That's his first home run playing third base, though.
All right, well, forgive me then. I'm glad. I wish I was on the air with you in April.
But Sean, I mean, we're going to talk about this next week. It's time to take Matt Shaw very seriously.
Oh, hell yeah. You know what? I got some really nice baseball cards of that gentleman. Hey, boys and girls, we're going to be back in 1 week from now. Yes. We're going to see. We got Foster. What did Foster? We're going to put Foster in the count here. What did he have on that? 5-3. He has them,
Yeah.
Kyle and Foster. I'm putting Foster on the blog here.
Yeah.
Foster's at
Thanks, Foster.
Foster's at 5-3 with Kyle and Brucey. You and I, we're rocking 6-2. We're gonna hopefully have a big week versus for the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, Sean, March 29th against the Arizona Diamondbacks, Matt Shaw had a pinch hit home run.
Okay. Well, then I'm glad to be on the air with you for his first home run as a starter for the Chicago Cubs.
Actually, that home run he had against Arizona, that was actually his 6th major league game that he had a home run.
Well, I don't expect him to have, I expect him to be, 6 to 8 home runs a year. I don't expect to see a ton of power out of him. I love that he's a slap hitter.
I would say
down the line.
I'd say closer to 15. I think he's going to be kind of 15 to 20 range for home runs. Once he gets more comfortable in the major league level and he starts to see the strike zone. I mean, Sean,
20, really?
Yeah, I mean, he had multiple AAA games with 2 home runs in one game. I mean, it's the same size parks at AAA. I mean, the guy can hit home runs. He had a leadoff home run and a walk-off home run in the same game.
Yes.
So he says, Foster says Shorty's on his way. He has 7-0, he says this week. Love it, Shorty. Love it.
All right, Shorty. I'm putting you on the list. Would that be 8-0? Is he counting the victory tomorrow? He said, keep watching, guys. Every time we say goodbye, the Cubs get another run.
Yeah.
He said
he's putting Shorty down.
No, Foster said he made that up. He's like, he's on his way, but I made that up. He's a Cubs fan.
We're putting Shorty down for a perfect week.
It's in the books. It's too late, Foster.
It's written down. It's etched in stone. All right, we got 6 outs to go, boys.
Yeah.
Oh, no, going in the bottom of the bottom of the 7th. We got 9 outs to go. Is Jameson Taillon coming back out on the bump? Is the question.
He should at this point with a 4-run lead. I would, because now you could just try to keep that bullpen fresh for the Phillies. I would keep him out
tomorrow.
And Sean, if the second he gets in trouble, the second Taillon gets he gets a guy on base to take him out.
Yeah, guys, and don't forget, for everybody out there, and we love y'all and so much. Monday we'll be back on for the Hallis Hall Hangover. Wednesday, the Barely There podcast. Thursday, Brandon Midnight Oil with Dustin and Brando at the bare minimum.
Sean, look who joined the chat.
Phil.
Look who's here, man.
Hey, Phil! What's going
What
on?
up, Phil? Yeah, Philly.
Hey, Phil, if you were on Messenger, find me and send me your phone number because we want to get in contact with you about a couple things, my man.
Yeah, and if anybody out there in the chat, if any of you guys see the new John Wick that came out today, come in the show.
Was it out?
Yeah, come in the show Monday and let me know how it was, because it's
kind of ballerina or
I think it's called The Ballerina. It's about the chick that he taught to be like a killing machine. But I'm kind of on the fence, man.
I heard it was amazing.
Really?
I've heard it was amazing.
I should have skipped this podcast.
I hear one of my best friends owns the movie theaters. He is the CEO for Marcus, and he watches all the shows. He told me The Accountant 2 and The Ballerina were both insane. And actually, our co-host on Wednesday, Jason, he watched The Accountant 2 and said it is a definite 100% must watch.
Yeah, it's a good. It was a good movie, The Accountant.
You saw it?
Yeah, it's on the fire.
Oh, I'm late.
Yeah, I mean,
hey
Sean,
guys, and let me give this shameless plug. If anybody is bored tonight, spend the $70. There's a double main event. You got 9-time Olympic champ Kaylee Harrison versus Juliana Pena, and then you have Marab versus Sugar Sean in their rematch. Their first fight was fantastic. UFC 316 tonight, going to be off the chain. And for all you dorks like me, prior to that, don't forget, Money in the Bank is on WWE, baby. So it's a night full of action. I'm really happy that the Cubs are on it.
all right, boys. So my daughter's waking up from her nap here, so I'm gonna go take care of that situation. Let mom get a couple more minutes of shut eye here.
Yeah.
Go Cubs, everybody.
Yeah.
Go Cubs, everybody. Until next week, we love y'all. We'll see y'all. Peace and love.
Peace out.